Welcome back to Stationeers, everybody. I'm Rob, and today we're back here in our testing facility on Mars, retesting an old invention I did. So as you can see, we're doing something with furnaces today. Over a year ago, I did one setup with one arc furnace. Then one of you came up with an idea about doing multiple furnaces. And I was like, that's actually not a bad idea. So this is the original code that I did back then. Pretty bad if you want to replicate it on multiple items. So we're not going to use this at all. The code we're going to build today is supposed to be able to handle 10 of these together, all at the same time. I've already built, as you can see, a fan there, sensor there, a lever there, even a power analyzer, even though I don't need it, some screens, and a tank. Now the tank is not required, it's just so I can put something in there. I have an input there, I have a stacker here that makes it, I think, 5 pieces. And then out here we have the output. So this one just dumps out whenever we produce. So of course that one and the fan, that chute and the chute over there will be going to your storage system in some way. Over here we have just the internal the internal extraction of the gas will be let out to your piping system, and I'll just go into space. Now, what are we going to do? Well, first we're going to clear all of this, because as I said, we don't need it. We need some of it, but we don't need all of it. In the top, let's just clear, and I'll put in the starting things that we need. So these are the first few bits and bobs that we need. As you may have seen, some of them goes again. So we have the vent start, vent stop. That's just the pressure setting for your how to say it, that when you want your exhaust to stop. Then we have the hash name of the furnace, of an LLD, and the vent. Now the vent, we have 3 kinds. So we have the normal, we have the large, and we have the active vent. So that model is a normal vent, and then we can get the big one, which is a really big one, and then the old active vent. So those are here, so you just remove that and that, then you have the same one. So you can only have one vent active, but that's why I put in all 3. So I don't know what I'm going to use, but I can then swap between as I need to. Then of course we have the 2 direct things. It's the switch and the sensor. We could use them as a batch, but I was like, we only need 2. So like, might as well. The switch state, so when we read from the switch, we need a state for that. The current pressure, again from the sensor, we need to read the pressure. The input level of the furnace, we need that. Then we need the current, and this is the current furnace that we're looking at. And then the next, and we start with 1. Because this is scalable, so we can always go higher. It can actually handle as many as you have power for. I mean, if you build a massive room, maybe you need more vents, but that's about it. But the rest is, you can just build more and more of these on if you want to. So the first thing we want to do is we want to do a start section of this whole system. We'll start, and then of course we do a J start, so we jump back to the start. Now in here, we want to load the required power from the furnace, and as we have multiple furnaces, we want to do a load batch. So we do batch, so it doesn't matter how many, we can do all of them. And then we want to put that into let's see, we have our we're missing one here, alias arc power. We don't need to do alias actually, but we could, it's just good practice. So arc power, we put that in here, and we want to check the device, and we want to check the required power, and then we want to do, if you look on here, we want to do sum, which is taking all of it, or we do the maximum. Sum should be okay for this. So now we know we have the current value of the power, and we just want to read that out. So I do the batch here because if in case you don't have an LED, you don't need to do it. It's just I'm doing it so I know I have it. So I've already named this one as arc power, so I can see direct name, and I'll just take the console because I'm gonna write to the Daisy housing. So I do both actually. So we do LED because that's what we have up here. So set batch LED D, and then we do the hash. And this is what's different between the old one that I did and then this one. What is it called? Arc power. Is that we use the batch tool now, which we didn't have when we did last time. Batch makes everything a lot more easy to work with, and it enhances our skill. Anyway, so now we have the power coming out. Very nice, very nice. But also, if you want to do like a trend, which is this one, the console trend, then we are going to do a set db setting and the arc power. What it's doing now is it's writing it to this one. So if we load this in here and go in here, let's see if we turn on that one. You see already we're using 5 watt. So this one will be reading from here. Nice. So the next thing we want to do is we want to control the ventilation, and we want to control the ventilation in a subsection because it's always I like to separate them out, and we're just gonna do a YAL ventilation. Why not? Because it is a ventilation, and then we can put this one wherever we want to have it. So let's put it here, ventilation, and we need to first of all load, and we want the current pressure, and we want that from the sensor, and we want pressure, like so. So now we're getting the pressure from the room. This we then again put into where the device has. The reason, to make it clear, the reason why I'm doing these is if you don't want to have them, you can just leave it in. It doesn't go into error. If it's not there, nobody cares. So we're actually going to take this again. Not that. Arc pressure. You can rename these one to whatever you want to have them to. And we want to put in current pressure here. And let's just do a JR so we can see. So jump return. Export. Let's turn it on. So we have 2.249 in there. Whatever. So now we're going up. So it should equalize out to what we have outside here. Let's see. Can we get there so we can verify this is correct? 27. Yeah. It's sort of the same. Of course, I have to be over here to stand to look at it, but then I can't see the sign. So we're definitely reading that one. So now, when we have the pressure in the room, then we need to turn on and off the vent. So if we go down here, it's pretty simple. A BRLT. Basically, we can do a jump depending on the value. As you can see, we relative jump to line C if A is smaller than B. So we need the current pressure, and we need the vent start and 2. So I put 2. Meaning that it will jump to the second line below it. So it'll basically jump to here right now, which of course is not where it's going to be, but it will jump 2 lines below if the current pressure is smaller than vent start. If it's not smaller, then it will do something, and we will do set match vent on 1. Basically, if the current pressure is higher than the vent start, it won't jump, and we can turn it on. Simple. So otherwise it'll jump to here. So if this is true, that this one is smaller than the vent start, it'll jump to here. And then we can put in the next one. And I like to use the same one because they're quite simple to use. We do vent stop, and we do current pressure 2. So that is quite simple and on off. And that will control this one. So if you put it, let's say at 10, this one will turn on at 10 and turn off at whatever you put on. So right now I think it's 2.5. We can put this one 5 and then this one at 1. But let's put 5.0 just to make it the same. Oh, confirm. Export. Nothing happens. Good. If we then put it down to, let's say, 2.4. And then we should see this one drop down quite quickly. There we are. And he's off. So you see how quickly he goes. That fan sucks out the air super quickly. So you don't need to fiddle around with a pump and active vent. That one is plenty, but it's up to you, really. Let's put it back to 5.0 or 10. Doesn't really matter. You can put it whatever value you will, as long as it doesn't blow out the windows, if you want to do that. You can also just leave the windows open. I mean, doesn't really matter. It's a tool made for all of it. Right, so now we have done that one. That one's complete. So the next thing we want to do is we want to handle the furnace. So let's do a Jarl furnace. Handle furnace. So what this one is doing is basically the entire control of the furnaces, on and off and all that stuff. So let's go down. And as you see, I can put them anywhere. I can put it here. If I put it doesn't matter. This means that we're just jumping to that line. So let's do furnace. And let's do a jump return. Why do I do that? Like that. Then we know we're returning. The JAL is jumping to the line, and then we're saving this line in the raw value, and then we're jumping back to the raw value. That's why we jump from here to here, and then we jump from here back to the saved value, which is here. Makes sense if you think about it. It's a jumping state. So the first thing we want to do is we want to handle our switch, and we only need a switch for our furnace. So let's load. Switch state is what we put it into, and we want to do the switch, which we have here, and setting, I think it is, or on, open, whatever. So if this is pulled, this one will become 1. Then we're going to do BQ, where we are branching to a line, and from this line we will check the switch state. So if the switch state is equal to 1, we jump to turn off, which is another function. We're just going to put that down here. And so here's a nice thing. When we run, so we go down through all the code, we go down into this one. This one saves where we are in the raw value. It then jumps down here, but then we branch to a new line, because this where we then jump. If this is true, if the switch state and 1 is the same, mean that the switch is pulled, we'll then jump from here down to turn off value. And then we'll turn from here instead of going through the rest of the code in the handle of the furnace. Yes. But let's do the turn off later. Let's just right now focus on finishing the furnace. So we want to load the input state of the arc furnace. So that will be LB, and we want to do them individually NS. The reason why we do them individually is if you do them by batch, let's say we just do that one. Now if you do them by batch, then this one, and this one would turn on. That gives you a spendage of 15 watt. But imagine if we only need that one, because it's the only one that has an input, then we don't need to turn on those two, and we can save 10 watt. That's why we're gonna do hash values for each furnace. Requires a little bit more work, but it saves the power. So if you don't have enough material to fill up all, let's say 10 or 8, I think I only have 8 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think there's only 8. Whatever. If I don't have enough information to fill all of them up, no. If I don't have enough items to fill all of them up to produce ingots, then we don't need to turn them on. So yeah, that's why I do it this way. So we need to load the arc import level into this one, and we want to do that from the furnace. This one. Now here in the name hash, we need to get current. We haven't made a current yet, but we will, but right now we don't. So the arc import level is a slot in the furnace. So if you go into the furnace, go to actual arc furnace on the Stationepedia, there's a lot of information. You see you have 2 slots. You have input, you have export. Index 0, index 1. We don't need to worry about the export, we just need to think about the import. So the import is slot 0, so we're just going to put slot there. And we need to know a few things, so we go further down. We can see in the slot status, we can see occupied hash, quantity, we can see all different finds. So we don't care about the quantity or the damage or prefab or max quantity, all that, we don't care. But occupied, is there something in there? Yes or no? That is what we're going to care about. So we're going to put occupied here. Like so. And again, we want the full amount, so sum. Now we know we load from this current, from the current arc furnace we're on, we load if there's something in the import. If there is, then we turn it on. So again, ZBN. ZBN, we set the batch by name, and we set the furnace, set the current furnace, we on, and this value is the arc import level. So that is 1, we set on. And we do the same thing with activate. Yes, SBN. Activate import level. Export. Still no errors, that's good. Right, so now we can actually run the furnace, but we cannot test it because we're running with this. If I remove that, let's just do like this and remove that. And that, right? Yes. Export. Then if I load in 1, let's see, we have something here. We load in 1. Did I not do? So if I try now, so I removed the current, so now it's actually should take all of them. So we export that, no errors. Let's put in some ore. Yeah, you see, all three are on, and that one is running. Not what we want. That is why we're gonna do the hash. So we're gonna do in here, in here, in here, and we want the current again. Or did I move it? Here. There we are. Export. And then, yeah, it pops out here. Lovely. Good. So before we do the current, let's just finish off this section here. And the reason why we're going to do this now is if we're going to do this now before we move on is because it's quite simple. We already know that we are there. We need to do something, and it's just set SB, not the hash, just the device name, and that's the that is not correct. That's better. Yeah, the device and then the hash. Yes. So we do the device hash, and then on 0. That's it. Then we can turn them off. Sorry. Next thing is we need to get in the different devices we need, and this section is what makes this whole program, this whole list so much stronger, because you have all these lines, so you can add a lot if you want to. I don't know why I would, but you can. So up in the start, we're going to put it here because I personally would like it to be up here. Jarl, furnace, pick. Nice name. Let's just go down here below everything. So like that. JR. Now, this is going to be repetitive. The BRNE. I don't know if you have seen any of my videos, but I've used this one before because it makes life easy. So the first one, we do 1, then we do a next, and then we do a 2. So basically, if this value is different to this value, you jump. You could also do another one, but you could also do not equal to. Yeah, if these two values are not equal, you jump. Yeah, but if they are equal, you do something. So let's just go here. So here we'll take 2, and then here we would do a move. So we move current hash, and to make it easy for ourselves, we're gonna write, let's say, arc furnace 1, because the device is already called arc furnace, and you can just rename them with a 1. So what if we quickly do, I think we have, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've pre-made 8, so we're gonna do 8. I think if I upload this one, I'll maybe make it to 10. Let's go for 10. And there you have it. You have 10 different devices. And so as you can see, then the value goes up every time. That means that the value in next should also go up. If you remember, we start the value with 1, meaning that right now, furnace 1 would be the first one to go. But how would we do the next? Well, we would add down here, add, next 1. Basically, we'll plus next and 1 and put into next, and this will then go up every time. That is pretty simple, straightforward. But what about when we get to the next one? So 11. then we need to go back to 0, or back to 1 in this case. Well, we need to put another one and do a move 0. Next 0. 0. And the reason why I do it this way is because we then move to 0 and then we plus it this next with 1, and then it continues its original system. And I believe that is it. Yeah, we've done the ventilation. We've done the handling of furnace with the currents. We've done the turn off value. We have done the furnace picker, and they go back up here. Yeah. Right, let's just verify that everything works. Let's pop up 1. Nothing happens. And he would think, why is that? Well, it's because we have put in a number. So it's looking for 1. And it should, yes, there we are. Good. But you see this one, let's just name this one. They don't turn on? Awesome. Let me just put in some more shoots so we can actually compare and see if everything here works. So we are currently ready. Our pressure seems to be good. Let's flip that down and unleash them. He turns on. They go away. They go over here. He turns on. Turns on. Turns on. Turns on. And he's on. Yep. Lovely. So as you can see, they are all starting to be on now. Awesome. And let's see now. We're using a around 35 watts. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Yeah. And if you then hit this one, all turns off. Lovely. That is just what I want to see. And if you turn on, they all flip up again. So it takes a good amount of power to run them, but it also gives a nice amount of gas. And for that, I guess they're okay to use. And this flip-flop thing seems to be working decent. Let's just create some more ore here. So what do we want to do? Let's just do some copper, because that's easy. And it will keep on filling up. So yeah, they move down. Yeah. And as I told you, this you just build on here. So if you decide you want to have 20 or 30, you just build on here, and it will continue running. The rest up here, it's the same. I think I moved around a little bit. Anyway, it's the same. So in case you want to, I don't know, you save a lot by just using one of these, because these only use, what is it, 50? 50 watt, yeah. So instead of having 2, like I know somebody is having, you can keep one and you can do as many as you want. This is, however, meant to be in the same room, so bear that in mind. Of course, my stacks right now is 5, but it seems to be working just fine. But if you want a good and quick system to get a lot of ore melted quickly, this is definitely a system. And if you decide, I want to go up mine, I don't want to leave this alone, you can turn on and done. They're off. This code will be released to the workshop straight away together with the video. And I hope you, I don't know if you learned some of it. If you have, fantastic. If you have any questions, any ideas, any things that you can add or improve or whatever, please let me know. If there's something you want to look into, please write me a comment and I will definitely look into it. I like to work on these strains, or not strains, but these different setups than what I thought was good to begin with. I have another one over there that I'm working on. Yeah. The next video maybe. But yeah, this is definitely something I would keep here, and then we can tweak if you want to. Anyway, until next time, take care everybody. Bye for now.